Sit back, strap in, and get ready for After Hours with TC Restani. This is Abigail Harwich, executive producer, welcoming you to the show. And now, TC Restani!
Righty there. Welcome to the After Hours with TC Restani, the podcast. I am TC Restani, emanating from the palatial podcast penthouse, and I'm here at my esteemed panel of experts, and we're going to go around the horn and introduce them as we do every single episode. My mentor, Mr. Ricky Bittman.
Hello, children. We're going to read a story today about Captain Ned. He liked to hang down by the docks with the men dressed as ladies.
Like to hear that story, Quincy?
Sure, why not?
Why not?
We'll hear that after hours.
Hello, TC.
And of course, the one and the only, the milkman himself, who's got 3.5 gallons of milk here in the podcast penthouse tonight.
Is that a half or that's a pint? Is that a pint?
That's a quart.
It's a quart.
Why did I?
All
Jesus.
right, so what would that be? So that's three gallons and a quart.
Three gallons and a quart.
3 gallons and a quart. Quincy Briscoe, what's going on, Quincy?
Nothing much, yourself.
Just watching you consume milk as always.
Well, don't forget that. That's like goes on for a few days.
It's been going on for quite a few days. You're 61 years old, so.
No, it's how they stock up.
Oh, of course. All right. Sorry, I'm not. You're talking about these days, not those were the days. Unbelievable! Breaking news. Newly sworn in President Donald Trump has signed to have all the JFK, Robert Kennedy Jr., and MLK files released.
He was like saying that just only like a week ago. He was just yelling it out.
I mean, I found out the truth about JFK in the 1991 movie JFK by Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Everybody thought I was a whack job, but it proved itself true.
Yeah.
He's got guts. I'll give you that. Remember when he got shot?
Oh yeah.
And then he's like,
you know what? I think that is what spearheaded him releasing all these files.
Yeah.
Because he could have been a new Oliver Stone movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will be an Oliver Stone movie somewhere down the line.
Someday there'll be a movie.
But I'm just saying, finally someone has the nuts to release all the classified documents of JFK. You know why they didn't want to do it? Because who was in the CIA at the time?
Of course.
Who?
J. Edgar Hoover?
No.
Who?
Bush Sr.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You know he's involved in that. He was a Texican.
Yeah, he's dead now, so.
I know he's dead, but I'm just saying that he, that's why probably, his kid and all the rest of them didn't release it.
What do they want to kill him for, do you think?
Because he wanted to stop the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
That's why. He wanted to change things, like Trump.
Yeah.
He wanted to change things.
Well, I think, what was, not to get too political, but the Ukraine wanted to get out of that war, and Biden's like, no, fine.
He was getting laundered money, that's
of
why.
Course.
He
pardoned like 8,000 people.
except himself.
Right. Yeah, that was the one he forgot.
Right. That should have been first on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, who am I going to put down?
Trump found the post-it note, pardon myself. Oh, look what I found here.
But I'm I don't care about politics or anything
I don't
like that.
either.
Just the fact that JFK files, which conspiracy theorists like myself now, I guess we're called truthists because all this stuff is becoming true.
And he's going to talk about the UFOs, too. He's going to let all the news up at the UFOs is going to be let loose.
The drones and all that other fun
Jackie
stuff.
Gleason, Nixon, all that stuff.
Hey, well, Elvis,
That's right.
they were all.
Maybe he'll find out who killed Michael Jackson, too.
I think I know who killed Michael Jackson.
Who?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
I'll release
Tito,
those.
you're not safe.
Tito Santana?
Tito Jackson.
Tito Santana's probably not safe.
Arriba!
But yeah, I'm very interested in seeing what we find in those files.
Well, listen, hats off to the new president. I think Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live said it best. We're counting on you, and I hope you do a good job.
You watch Saturday Night Live?
Well, I watch it because Dave Chappelle's on. I love Dave Chappelle. I think he's the best stand-up out there right now. He came, I'll tell you right now, he came out smoking a cigarette, too. And I think that was a personal jab at Lorne Michaels, because Lorne doesn't like that. He came out like smoking it, not holding it unlit.
Was he like Vince McMahon?
He smoked it. And I think that really is
Dave Chappelle's comedy hero was the guy from DC Cab.
Oh, I'm trying to think of his name.
The black guy had the rollers in his hair.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name is.
I can't remember it either, but yeah.
Basically, if you saw that guy's act, it's Dave Chappelle's act.
Yeah. Well, now it's a little different now. He's a very...
I'm talking like 30 years
ago.
yeah,
definitely. But, like I said, I think he said it best. We're counting on you. The world is counting on you. We hope you do a good job.
Hey.
And, of course, that pissed some people off in the audience. Like, how can he even say that? How can he say that about the devil, the orange devil? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, like we said, politics are on another channel.
Yeah.
We don't talk about
You hear
that
from
stuff.
them enough. But you know what I want to do?
What is that?
Tasha's got like, I would say 10 hours of inauguration coverage full of on the DVR player.
Yep.
And I don't like that. I need room for my movies.
Really?
Yes. I don't like that.
Well, the First Lady looked unbelievable at the balls.
Yeah, she did. She really
At the inauguration, she looked at the hamburger.
Yeah, they saw that comparison of the hat. Yeah.
Right, so whatever in that.
You know who's the stud is the kid, Barron.
Ooh, Andre?
He's a nice looking kid.
He's like 6'11".
Did you see him shake Biden's hand?
Yeah.
And he shook Kamala's hand. She looked like she was shaking hands with dog shit, for Christ's sake. With a face on her. Boy, she could turn your milk sour, Quincy.
Did you hear that? You hear that Barack Obama supposedly banging Jennifer Aniston?
Really?
That's why Michelle did when she said I didn't want to be there because of Trump.
Wow.
But the rumor through the grapevine is that Barry Soetoro's hooking up with Jennifer Aniston.
Not that surprises me, for crying out loud.
She's another one who doesn't age.
Yeah, she's starting to look a little fake.
Okay, but still, I'd let her be my friend.
What's her name that you were just showing me the picture of? She looked good.
Oh, Leah Thompson?
Yeah, no, that looks. She looks genuine.
All right, if you're watching this on YouTube, there is a recent picture of. I had to look at it again. There's a recent picture of Leah Thompson. I think she was doing something. She was in Cabaret years ago. I don't know if she's bringing back the costume or whatever this picture is. That woman's 60-something years old.
Garter belts and stockings.
Look at her.
That's a turn on.
Unbelievable. Oh, that's beyond
If you
turn
grew up
on.
watching Benny Hill, you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, slap my head.
Little Jackie Wright.
So, I heard you have through the grapevine that next week on this program, you're going to be opening up a gift.
We're going to do, you watch these things, they call them unboxings. You ever heard of an unboxing, Quincy?
Unboxing gifts.
Well, yes, when you take a gift and you open it on camera and you examine it and you show people all the packaging and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and we're going to do our first official unboxing.
Wow. Now, I remember before you unveil what we're going to be unboxing, years ago, there was a Spanish woman who was opening up. She was a porn star. I didn't even know this. And she would open up Disney toys. And she had like this voice like this. And then look, we're going to open up this little princess thing.
I'm trying to think of who it might be.
I mean, it wasn't anybody mainstream.
Oh, okay,
it was like a South American porn star or something.
Gotcha.
But she made millions doing this stuff. So next week on the program, you're going to be unboxing what?
What do we want to say?
No, I'd say keep it down.
All right.
It's a Christmas present that I received.
And it is movie related.
Yes, it is.
So
one of our favorite movie related.
All right.
So I figure we'll try something new.
Something new. Now, do you want to be just your hand shown on the YouTube?
Well,
video?
you know me, I'm a big ham. We can do both.
We can do it. We don't. Okay.
Maybe
Well,
a 2-camera shoot.
I don't think we're going to go that far. I think one camera will be suffice because money's tight down
Put
here.
some on the bulletin board down the studios and let the kids know. Would you want to be part of history? Oh, she won't allow it?
No, I don't know why she's chiming in. Maybe she wants to be unboxed.
Maybe she says, "Good idea, Bittman."
Maybe that's it. Well, you see, you get your red Solo cups.
Got my red
again.
Solo cup.
Well, this is fantastic. Now, what gave you the inspiration? Did you just watching YouTube and said, "Hey, I want to do this"?
Well, it's funny. When I was given this gift, I said, "Wow, this is really cool. I'd never seen it before." Now we talked about it. You know what it is.
I know what it is.
But I said, "Boy, wouldn't it be great if we unveiled this on the show somehow?" And then, why don't you do an unboxing video? So I looked them up, and of course, there are people that just open gifts.
Wow.
I figured, what the hell?
So you will be on camera next week.
Yeah, why not? Both of us will be.
No, just you. Just you will be on.
Well, he can't either.
Bingo, because we want to see. He has his own.
Well, at some
shows.
point, we could maybe say something.
Maybe
to the
he can
camera.
play with it after.
All right, we'll do that.
All right.
Look very crestfallen over here.
Well, it'll be awesome.
Okay, that's great.
We'll save it for that way.
Next week on the program. A little dramatic pause there in the radio thing,
thinking.
radio world.
I do have a confession to make, so
Hold on. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
big time. You're going to be very disappointed.
Oh, I know what it is. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And in fact, what did you have, a drink?
Yes, I did.
That's all right.
One 22-ounce draft beer.
Well, what's wrong with that?
I wanted to go the whole month without having one. But
I've
you know
gone
what?
18 years without soda. All right, and I was a soda-aholic.
But I went 14 days.
Well, that's awesome. I think that's very good.
Yeah. Now, normally I would have, at this meal, I would have probably had like 5 of them.
What was the meal?
Well, Tosh got a gift card for Christmas for the Texas Roadhouse, and we had some errands to run. She happened to have it with her, And we were out like, what are we going to do for dinner? Want to grab something on the way home, or we don't just? And she goes, oh my God, I got this gift card that my sister gave me. So we were right near the Texas Roadhouse, so we went in there, which I happen to love.
The one in Everett?
Yeah.
I've been there many times.
Yeah, it's really good, and it was. But I mean, we got there at like 5:30, 5:45. I'm thinking we're ahead of the rush. Place packed.
What day of the week was this?
Saturday.
Real? Oh, that's a Saturday. That's
But
why.
still, I mean, you go early. Everyone goes out to dinner at 7 o'clock. I don't do 7 o'clock anymore.
I go at 9.
Well, yeah, I couldn't do that long. But I go 8 o'clock. All the 7 o'clock crowd is gone, and then you find a spot. So we went in there and sat down, and immediately I just said, you know what I started? I said, I'll have a club soda and a bag of peanuts. Because used to be when they had those barrels of peanuts.
Right.
Now you have to ask for a bag.
Because the people who are allergic?
Well, I guess during COVID, that's what started it. Because
You can get COVID from a peanut?
Well, people grabbing them like
Oh.
you could help yourself to them. So now it's like you got to order a bag. But they're
Whatever.
very fresh and delicious.
Actually, that's actually better.
And they were really fresh.
I mean,
too.
someone like Bull could have wanted it and they had
Plus
sneezed
you get-
on it.
Yeah, and not even bulls, like scabby kids.
Right.
Like they throw them at each other and stuff, and like they spit on them. I mean,
I used to pick them up off the floor of the ground round when I was young. But
oh god, remember the ground around the popcorn?
Oh,
Crying out
yeah.
loud.
Popcorn, they give a big basket of popcorn.
Yeah, that was
And,
great. The ground around.
The thing is, like, only eat some of the popcorn because you got to save room for the meal.
Now, did you know they're coming back with a ground round?
really?
In Natick, some couple bought the rights to it, and they took an old restaurant and they're turning it into a ground round.
Wow.
We should look that up and see.
I'll have to go check it out.
That could be a road trip.
Oh, we've only gone on one in the last 2 years.
I know. No.
Now, getting back to the Texas Roadhouse, do they still have that cinnamon butter?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not going to fill up on bread, but they bring it, and they're so soft and like feels like you're going to hurt it.
We're on a route down here at the Penthouse. Maybe it is from that one. We got someone in here maybe every couple months. He brings us, free appetizer, gift certificates,
Yeah.
and samples, and he brings in a whole bread and whatnot.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Where the
happened.
hell am I when this happens?
It's during the day.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't know if had anything to do with it.
Wow.
But she sees the crew down here. Maybe she's like, I'll throw them a bone,
Yeah,
or I'll throw them some rolls and cinnamon butter.
Yeah, bread
Works. It works.
It is good stuff.
I don't eat red meat, but I'd go to the Texas Roadhouse. I gotta have something.
I had the 6-ounce sirloin,
Right.
cooked medium, with a half a rack of ribs and a baked potato.
Sounds good.
It was delicious. I really love a baked potato. We
You have
talked
to.
about that recently.
Baked potatoes are great.
I absolutely love them.
But the only thing I like on baked potatoes is butter.
Yeah, well, I do butter and a little sour cream. Just a little sour cream.
You know what else I used to mix in with it? Maybe because I'm half Irish in St. Patrick's Day.
Whiskey.
Mustard.
Mustard I could see, yeah.
Mustard.
A little hot sauce sometimes, too, is nice.
Oh, don't get talking to Quincy on his hot sauce down there.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Well, I took a little Chinese food hot sauce and spicy hot mustard and
You not come in here no more. All you do is take mustard and leave.
well, it loosens up the breathing.
It loosens up the mucus.
Care about your breathing.
And tonight I got fajitas, and you had some habanero sauce.
Shit, that's hot. You gotta be
I
careful.
thought his eyes were going to fall out.
Yeah.
Well, it works. But be prepared to drink water when you're drunk.
Prepared.
Be prepared. Are you ready to get involved?
Be prepared.
Are you ready to take the lead? Skying's more than you think. Join your local troop. Be prepared.
Remember that the kid, he jumps off the rope and he stands there like that?
He was impressive. Not as impressive as the habanero sauce.
You gotta be careful of those peppers. You ever watch those videos of the people eating the hot peppers?
Oh, I remember. Oh my God! It's almost 30 years ago. Bull was on a
was gonna say,
was on a
the word
local.
bull's gonna come
Bull
out
was
of
on
his
a
mouth.
local show,
Oh, no.
and someone gave him one of the hottest peppers in the universe,
Probably the ghost pepper or
something like that.
Yeah.
And he chewed it like a Skittle down in like 2 seconds. He's like, doesn't bother me, didn't bother. 10 minutes later, everything orifice on his head was leaking, and he was just he was like.
It was probably the Reaper, Carolina Reaper.
It was a very small.
That was probably the
small
Carolina
pepper.
Reaper. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was the Carolina Reaper.
Whatever it was, it basically we put Kleenex in business that day, all right. And we said everybody's like, you got to get him milk. Too bad we didn't know you then.
Yeah.
We ran across the street and got him like a half a gallon of milk, and he just basically remember the milk challenge.
Oh, yeah, we
that
were pouring
Quincy
it over our
did with
heads.
everybody did. He was just with the milk. He looked like he did a scene with
Too bad
Peter.
there was no
He looked
cameras
like he
that
did a
night.
scene scene with Peter North. It was just, and it was just like his humongous tongue was just hanging out like Jabba the Hutt.
Speaking of Peter, how was Peter Woos?
Oh, it was damn good. It's always good.
Yeah, well, just because you said you were going with Airwolf and
Airwolf Chris and intern Nolan. We went down there, and it was, a smorgasbord. They got so much. I got my usual.
That's what I was going to say. What did they eat? Because that's
right.
probably more interesting than what you would.
All right, I got my hot and sour soup.
Yeah.
With the extra scallions.
Did they bring it over without you asking for it?
Of course.
Okay.
And then I got my sauteed shrimp and black bean sauce surrounded by broccoli.
Sounds good.
And then I got a side of ginger scallion noodles. Very good. They got, and God bless them, because this was their second time. They were there around just before Christmas time, and they, without question, they have now solidified this is their favorite Chinese food ever.
Interesting. Okay.
Ever. So it was Nolan, who's my 12-year-old nephew / intern down here, called me, goes, Uncle TC, we're going to Peter Wu. I go, I didn't know that. He goes, can we go? And I go, absolutely. So we went, and they got, you can't, everything on the menu is good, because they wanted to sample everything to make sure everything on the menu was good, and it was. They got hot and sour soup, which they loved. They got boneless spare rib, which is tremendous. They got General Gao chicken, which is very good and a little spicy there. I tried a little piece of that. Crab rangoons.
Delicious.
Beef teriyaki, which I don't touch or anything like that. They also got some fried rice. And I think a little mushi.
Mushi.
And let's just say they had a ton of leftovers.
Really?
And I texted Nolan a couple days later. And he goes, "We're still working on them. They're still good."
Wow.
So they love Peter Wu.
Well, that's good. Now, Airwolf had a little problem with acid reflux.
Oh yeah, I think he had surgery about that.
Oh, he
too.
did have the surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. Well, now he can enjoy that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he tried the hot and sour soup, and it was just the same reaction everybody that tries. It just stops and goes. They're like taken back at how good this is.
I'm gonna have to try it someday.
You're gonna have every Friday night. I go
Every Friday.
every Friday night.
Tomorrow I have to go to Mexico Lindo.
Oh, that's where we have the habanero sauce.
I get the camarones a la plancha.
And that in English is what?
Shrimp with rice, cheese, and beans or
Is that like the hickory cheese they put on it?
Whatever that wakata cheese or whatever.
I don't
It's
know
a
what it
Mexican. It's melted in with the beans, and they have a like the what is it, like coleslaw almost, like the lettuce and all stuff. Beds of
Sounds good.
It is. It's very light,
Right.
And you cover it with limes. And I always steal some of Tasha's wraps. And
Limes.
I make limes, and I make a little wrap for myself.
Wow.
And then I usually end up eating half of what she doesn't eat. But I'm gonna have a margarita tomorrow night. I'm not gonna have a beer.
No. I think it's the cat's out of the bag. You've already drank, so.
But I mean, I'm not. Normally, when I would go to the Mexico Lindo, I would literally have 5 or 6 16-ounce beers. I'm not going to do that, Quincy. I'm just going to have one.
Well, you're doing good.
All right, Quincy, I gave up soda 18 years ago. He gave up booze for 16 days. Can you give up milk for 2 days?
No way, Jose.
All right, sorry. I tried, ladies and gentlemen.
You have a curious on one thing. What's a mushi?
It's I don't know what it actually is, but it's good.
Yeah.
You can have either chicken or beef mushi.
Yeah. They call all these dishes. It's probably just the way they prepare
probably
it.
like noodles and...
They probably pick up the chicken. They go, mushi, mushi, mushi.
Whatever it is, it got the thumbs up.
Wasn't
over
that from Bonnie Miller? The pot brownies? Isn't that what he, what's his name was saying?
Jack Sue?
Yeah.
Could have been.
He was eating the pot brownies, and every time they talked to him, he just go, mushi, 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 mushi.
That's on every night on one of those flashback channels.
One of the best theme songs to a TV show. Speaking of old TV shows, did you ever know that they addressed Freddie Prinze's death on Chico and the Man?
They did?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I don't know how. I stumbled upon this video on YouTube. It's out there, and it's the series finale. And Jack Albertson is very depressed. And some young kid moves into Chico's van.
They jumped the shark?
Yeah, well, big time. They could bring in the young kid, and he's got Chico's guitar and everything. He's like,
Wow.
who told you can have these things? Where did you get those? And he starts yelling at the kid, and the kid runs away, and then so it's like kind of, but they show him with a whiskey bottle and stuff. So
I remember that. And then Louis comes along. Louis the trash man's like,
yes.
And he goes, Ed's gonna be furious when he sees this van.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it was Chico's van. You know.
How do they explain Chico dying on the show?
I don't know what they said, but they just said he definitely died.
Because on,
wasn't that he was
on
just
Bonnie
going.
Miller, they did it in character when Jack Sue died.
What do you mean?
You know, they killed the character off.
Yep.
Like even before he died, they had him like, remember he had like an illness and they took him out of the ambulance or whatnot.
Oh, really?
But then they did a special episode where if I could be mistaken, but
Luger comes along. These are the best moments. That's Detective Luger. Like, this is the best moments of Jack Sue.
But if
Enjoy.
you're going to do it, you got to talk like him. You know what they did there, Barney? They brought in Jack Sue.
They brought in Jack Sue.
They're John Bird and Jack Sue. This is the best of Jack Sue. Enjoy. You know, they're just like him. And
Wow, did he make good coffee?
he makes real good coffee. You know, like and it's like, you know, the coffee is lousy. Yeah, but that was the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
You know, he's still not Jack Sue, but Hal Linden's still kicking.
Yes, he is. He's like 90.
He's like 90 something, and I think
90, and he's still.
Yeah, the only other person from there on there is still alive is Max Gale, Wojciechowicz.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Abe Vigoda finally kicked in.
Abe Vigoda's gone, and I think everybody else on that show is gone.
Sad.
Even Linda Lavin just died.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Alice.
All the good actors of all these old-time classics, but on the other hand,
Well, Quincy, you got to remember, these shows were on like 50 years ago.
you just said it for me. Like, we've been around, but these shows have been around about the same time.
Well, all these actors are dying, and you know who comes next after them? Us.
Hopefully no, they're going to skip over us. And the actors, the young actors now that are all awful.
Good. Let them go.
Right.
Bunch of pricks.
You know, it's tough to get a good role, but then if you love the role that much,
Well, you can get a good one at the Texas Roadhouse.
That's right.
there you go. Study the role, and then give it your very best, and then you'll make something of yourself.
Wow.
Then the role becomes iconic, and you remember it forever. Like here we are talking about Jack Sue. Wherever he is, he's probably hanging with Jeff going, who are those guys talking about me down there?
Jack Sue died in like 1979.
And we're talking about him now.
What is that, 46 years
Yeah.
ago?
I remember him like it was yesterday. My
Barney
my
Miller-
sisters would crowd around the TV and they'd all watch and they'd kill themselves
Wasn't
laughing.
Bonnie Miller on a Thursday night?
That sounds about right. Because
Could be. All the golden classics, Barney Miller, all those good cop shows, SWAT.
Yep.
The
70s, the best
sitcoms. All those good TV shows, the cop shows. Yeah,
I will say, Bonnie,
Jack Sue died January 11th, 1979.
wow, so it's coming up. We just passed his
We just
anniversary.
passed it.
Did it say when that show was on the air? What night? I'm going to say, I think you're right about the Thursday. Because here's a funny story. When I was a little kid, I had a buddy of mine whose father was a custodian at public schools.
Uh-huh.
And on Thursday nights, they would go over to a school called the Murphy School, which was over the Columbia Point Projects. And what he would do is he'd say, hey, my dad said we can go over to use the gym. So we'd go over and shoot baskets. We had the whole school to ourselves while the janitors, his father and two other guys, would clean the school. So we'd go over and shoot baskets. Then all of a sudden, we'd go up to find the older guys, his dad. They'd be in a room watching Bonnie Miller. Mm-hmm. So I said to my mother said to me, so what do they do over there? I said, and I was a young kid. I said, well, basically we fool around in the gym and then the guys mop the floors and then go and watch Bonnie Miller. So basically they were getting paid to sit in a room and watch Bonnie Miller. They watched a couple of sitcoms, but we always came in when Bonnie Miller was on.
My grandfather loved Bonnie Miller.
Yeah.
I love Bonnie Miller.
But these guys, like, talk about being on the tit. I mean, they get these cushy jobs with the school department. They clean the school. They probably half-assed it. As a kid, I didn't know this. Because my mother goes, what are they doing? I said, they sit in a room and watch Bonnie Miller. She goes, what? I goes,
Well, Bonnie Miller was on at night.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we after dinner, we'd go over to the school with them. And you could run through the whole school.
I used to do that.
It was really cool.
I used to go to my elementary school when it was like PTO night and just run around because most of the hallways were dark
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Oh, we'd have
It was
a
an
blast.
adrenaline rush.
Yeah, or we'd run just leave our socks on and we'd run and slide on the floors and stuff like that. And then we'd go and play the pianos and stuff and just run around. It was great.
Was Jack Sue there?
He was every night. We'd walk into the room and the guys would be sitting there watching Bonnie Miller. So my mother goes, "These guys are getting paid to sit there and watch Bonnie Miller." I said, "Yeah, it's
Hey,
good. Good-
someone's got to.
it's good work if you can get it."
I love Bonnie Miller. There was I don't know how many seasons on, maybe 5 or 6. It was good from beginning to
I
end.
think Tubi has it, just so you know.
Does it?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I love that show.
What was I going to say?
Won't you wear these pants you bought at least with Tachi, with hash?
Actually, one of the episodes the other night, they arrested this little tiny kid.
Little tiny kid?
Yeah, it was Todd Bridges.
Get out.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, he went on to be on Fish.
Right.
But this was way before
Which
Fish.
I liked. I like Fish. I liked it.
Fish was only on for one season.
There was a chick on there I had a crush
Was that
on.
after Barney Miller Fish?
No, it was during, actually, but
Yeah.
he never came back after Fish ended.
Remember the fat kid? Hey, Mr. Fish.
Yeah, of course.
That's how we called him, Mr. Fish.
And then there was Barry Gordon. There was like he was like the counselor of them all.
Yeah.
He did a ton of cartoon voices in
Big
the
time.
80s.
I remember him. And Eunice, of course.
You mean Fish? What are you doing, Phil?
Eunice, not tonight.
She was the judge on My Two Dads.
Was she really?
Right.
I know it'll be the first time we ever slept together, but the change will do us good.
It was what, Florence something or was her name Florence?
I have no idea.
I'll have to look her up.
I don't remember being on anything else, though.
She was on My Two Dads.
I never saw that. I never even know what that show's about.
You never watched that?
Oh, I got something to tell you, Quincy. And I told this guy I was going to do this. You're a big fan there, Steve Rossadini?
Right?
The other day, it's 7 degrees out. I see him walking with no coat.
Jesus. Ew.
Imagine.
Was he crazy?
Yeah. And then when he's going to be sick in 2 weeks, what's he going to say?
Blame Quincy.
Yeah.
Okay, her name was Florence Stanley, the actress.
Okay.
But she played Bernice Fish.
Bernice Fish.
And did you have you had a crush on Sarah Natali? Is that her?
Where is she? Which role?
That one right here, next to the fat kid.
No, there was another hot chick in there.
Okay.
She was real sweet looking. Unless that's her now. No, it can't be.
Well, was it Jilly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Denise Miller.
Yes. What does she look like?
Well, this is what you look like then.
Yeah. I liked her. She was kind of cute. I liked her.
You continue, Doug. I'll
She
look
was like
up.
a very feminine Christy McNichol.
She's only Christy McNichol's coming to town to do a signing if you want to go meet her. She's only 61 years old.
Yeah, we could go out.
Do they have any recent pictures? Wow, back in the day. Wow, she was a smoke show.
Yeah.
As we talked about last week, she's got the look.
Yeah.
Big
Beautiful
time.
hair. Beautiful hair.
Beautiful eyes too.
So
Probably
yeah, 7 degrees, no coat.
He's going to get pneumonia.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Oh,
I
that's
said to him, "Where's your coat?" He goes, "It's in the car."
that's her now.
Well,
What the hell? That doesn't even look like her, for Christ's
I'm
sake.
sorry. That's her.
She looks like she's from the mothership in Close Encounters. Let me see that again. No, okay, that looks like her.
Well, the other picture said it was her too. Maybe they're wrong. Well, whatever. We don't care what you look like now. We look
That's
like
true. That's true. What do we?
She looks like.
That just blew my mind, though. Like, what the hell?
You don't want to go meet Christy McNichol?
No.
Did I ever tell you the story when Christy McNichol came over and interrupted me and Jeff's conversation with Enos from the Dukes of
You
Hazzard?
did, but wasn't she drunk?
There was something. She was on something. It was at the end of Chiller. This was in April of 2016.
What a memory, folks.
Well, it was the last day I met Bobby Heenan. He was at that as well. So we're chatting, and Enos is in his outfit. You know, he's 90-something years old now.
yeah.
He's still kicking. So we're sitting there, and he's like, he does the Enos voice because he's really from the South. I think he's from Georgia. I think he is from Georgia.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there doing the Enos shtick, and we're chatting with just me, Jeff, and Enos. And then all of a sudden, Christy McNichol walks over and puts her hands around Jeff's shoulders and Enos's shoulders. What's going on, boys?
Wow.
And Jeff's like, well, we're talking to Enos about Daisy. You know?
I remember she had a cuteness to her. There was some of the guys in my school who were kind of smitten with Christy McNichol. But
Really?
she's, I was more, Charlene Tilton, when they had Battle of the Network Stars.
Yes, of course.
You'd see Christy McNichol, and
She looks like Bobby Brady.
yeah, she's very lithe, and then you'd see Charlene Tilton. She was, ooh la la, Benny Hill,
She had those oil cans.
Yeah.
From Dallas. She was on Dallas. It was about oil.
Ample bosom and a nice firm rump.
Sounds like what you had at Texas Roadhouse. Yeah. I never understood Christy McNichol, the appeal.
Well, I think she was a talented actress and she was very popular at the time.
I think I was just too young.
Yeah.
I mean, when she was on during what, Family? That was like in the late 70s.
I do remember she guest starred on Starsky and Hutch because
Really?
she had a huge crush on Starsky.
Wow.
That was like kind of the thing. My sister loved Starsky and Hutch, and she said, "Oh, Christy."
Is that Michael Glazer?
Paul Michael Glazer.
Paul
isn't it?
Michael Glazer.
Yeah.
He
No,
directed The Running Man.
Yes, he did. Yeah. He directed a couple of movies I'm
Right.
familiar with. I can't remember them all now.
Well, the other guy's dead.
Yeah, David Soul.
Yeah, what was that song he used to sing?
Don't give up on us, baby. Just give it one more try. I know I couldn't last all night.
Wasn't he from England, too?
don't give
I don't
up,
know.
baby.
I know he was in that, and he was in Salem's Lot.
Wow.
He played Some guy.
Some guy. That was in the credits?
Some guy. But
Some
he was-
guy.
him and Lance Kerwin were in Salem's Lot.
Wow.
But
It's right down the street, too, Salem's Lot.
that's true.
We can always go up there, and you could sing that song on Halloween.
Don't give up on us, baby. That song was popular at the same time Mac Davis's song, Baby, baby, don't get hooked on me. Baby, baby. Remember that one? Don't get hooked on me. I'll just hurt you, then I'll set you free. Baby, baby, don't get hooked on me. Ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Mac Davis also wrote In the Ghetto for Elvis, for Elvis
In the
Presley.
Ghetto.
Yep.
David,
And here's a mama cry.
David Soul was born in Chicago, Illinois, and died in England.
Wow.
But he didn't have dual citizenship.
You have quite the memory, man. I got to hand it to you.
You know,
Well, those are called golden oldies. Yeah, did you say, I never cried, I never cried? Is that, we're talking about some song that,
I don't know that
I
one.
know, but you got a lot of soul, Quincy Briscoe.
You do.
Jeff and I met Starsky and Hutch at one of these Comic Cons.
Oh, really?
And Starsky had on his little bootleg jacket
His sweater coat, his
Right.
coat sweater.
And the only thing I went up to, I go, yeah, I love The Running Man. Not many people know that I did that.
Yeah, that's
I know that movie was great.
Great movie.
You know, Starsky and Hutch. I didn't like Starsky and Hutch growing up.
I liked it.
I mean,
They were cool.
it was a little bit before my time.
Yeah. See, I got a few years.
I mean, that was probably, 76, somewhere in there?
See, I don't know.
It was right around the time of Charlie's Angels.
It was clear enough in my mind. I remember the opening credits and everything. And
It was pre-Dukes of Hazzard. That's for damn sure.
100%. Yes.
So-
70s, definitely 70s.
Right, and I didn't like their car.
The tomato soup. They call it the tomato or something
It's
like that.
Once you saw the General Lee, there's no comparison.
Yeah.
No comparison.
No.
I'm in love with like two movie TV cars.
But here's the deal. General Lee was not a gash wagon. Starsky and Hutch's car was a gash wagon.
Did you ever see the Southern Belle Tales that Bo and Luke used to get because of that car?
Maybe, I don't know.
They even kissed their own cousin Daisy on that show.
She was the highlight of that show. I'm sorry.
So,
well, it was a bright orange car, you know, and the doors were
I
welded
got nothing
shut.
against it. It's beautiful. Remember the time we saw it at the gas station?
I was going to say, then we saw the Dukes of Hazzard's car.
I remember how fast you ran when something.
Yeah.
It's like,
I was getting gas and I sent you the picture,
Right.
right? And you guys are like, where is this?
I know
I'm like,
Quincy next was a General Lee. So I'm General Lee.
the doors are welded shut, you know, because of all the stunts they do. That way, the doors don't fly open, and because you
Didn't they like say that they had to like edit out the Union, not the Union Jack,
The Confederate flag.
yeah, on the top because it didn't.
I think some channels
they
tried to
tried-
do that,
yeah,
and people
and-
were like, "What? Come on!"
So stupid.
I mean, the show's been on for 50 years. It didn't offend anybody then.
So
It's not going to offend anybody
stupid.
now.
stupid.
Stupid people. Stupid.
Stupid.
I got some news for you.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Remember a couple weeks ago or recently we were talking about, it was last episode, we was talking about catching up because I was sick. And I was watching Death Wish 3 and Death Wish 2.
Right.
So what do I stumble upon?
Death Wish 4.
No. A podcast.
About Death Wish?
It's called This Week in Charles Bronson. It's
Wow.
hosted by a cat by the name of Eric Todd. I told him that I would mention this. In its current content, the last episode was just recorded in November of 2024, so it's not like one of those podcasts that's like fizzled out. And it's him and two buddies, and they talked about, in this episode, they talked about Death Wish 3 the way it should be discussed. I mean, it was real. They really analyzed the movie and took it apart. You, who are not a big fan of podcasts, would find this fascinating.
I'm a fan of some podcasts.
Okay, I think you should listen
I
to
will
this.
definitely listen to it because Death Wish 3 is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies, but it's in a different category.
And that's exactly how they approach it.
Right.
But they do honor the film. They talk about it in a very in-depth and really appreciative way for the director, for the music, for the actors.
You know it was filmed in England?
Yes, they talk about that
Right.
too. I mean, except that opening segment and everything.
Right, when they were going to the Port
Yeah.
Authority.
Like they were analyzing, like, why is Kersey coming in on a bus? They're like, is he down on his luck? Like they pull the whole movie
Because the
apart.
last time we saw Kersey was in Death Wish 2 and he was in Los Angeles.
Yes, exactly. And so, what happened?
So he was coming home to visit his military buddy Charlie.
his buddy Charlie.
Right.
And it's funny because every now and then they'll say a line from the movie. Like one of the guys goes, "I like chicken." It just cracks me up because some of the lines in it are very funny. And they talk about
What are those? Teeth.
teeth. And it was the Jewish couple when they what do they call them? The goons? No, what do they call them? Oh shit!
The gang members?
no the whatever, like I almost want to say deplorables, but I know it wasn't deplorables. Like they're killing the goons or something like that. It was just, but they again,
A fantastically acted movie, by the way.
oh yeah, and they talk about they talk about the characters. They talk about the very graphic rape scene.
Which from Counselor Troy from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
What? That's that woman?
You know, the one that, you remember the guy, they raped her.
Yeah.
The woman was Marina Sirtis,
Yeah.
who played Counselor Deanna Troy on Star Trek: The Next
Dude,
Generation.
we got to get you in touch with these. You should be a guest on their show when they talk about this.
Gladly. When Jeff and I met her, this was, oh my God, we met her a bunch of times. She's very, very, how can I say it?
Hot?
No, but beyond that, she's very like a wise ass.
Really? Oh, okay.
I mean, which I love.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
nothing like-
she's a British-Greek combination.
She's what you'd call a hot ticket.
A very hot
Okay,
ticket.
there you go.
So every time we go up there, Jeff meticulously wanted to do is just to bust her balls. He goes, your rape scene in Death Wish 3 was one of the best ever filmed. And she goes, thank you very much. He goes, what can you tell us about that? She goes, I hated the director with a passion, but Mr. Bronson was a true gentleman.
Really?
And then Jeff knocked some of her pictures down because Jeff had a bad eyesight.
Yeah.
And he had
depth
he had
perception.
an autographed DVD of the best of Seika. And he dropped it, and she goes, pick up your porn.
That's classic. Oh God, Jeff.
It was hysterical.
Now she had a British accent.
She's from England.
That maid?
That maid?
Is that that's what we're talking about?
No, that's Death Wish 2. I'm talking about Death Wish 3.
Shit, I'm fucking fried.
Death Wish 3. Remember, she's coming out of the grocery store.
Yes, no, now I know who you're talking
And
about.
she starts going,
Yeah.
"Dan, she got
'Cause you get to see her boobs. Yeah.
She got raped by
Eric Todd, if you listen to this, I apologize. I should be more up on
she
this.
got raped by what was it? Bill from Bill and Ted's
Yeah, they
Excellent Adventure.
mention him. Winter,
Alex Winter.
Alex Winter.
I mean, the movie, every time it's on, I love it. I first saw Death Wish 3 in the movie theaters in 1985. I think we couldn't get in to see Back to the Future for the 800th time. And somehow we snuck into that.
Awesome.
And we were mesmerized. Me and my friends were like, this is so fucking bad, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean-
That's what that movie does to me.
And every time it's on, and every generation since then, like Howard, I smartened him up and his friends to Death Wish. We had a Death Wish 3 watch party down here about 10 years ago.
So, and
Every time Death Wish 3 is on, I will watch it.
And I got to move on to Death Wish 4 because I love the
Wasn't it the Crackdown?
Yeah, the remote control soccer ball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do, in front of the mansion and whatnot.
And the guy that plays the head honcho villain in that, I think, was in one of Quentin Tarantino's movies.
Was
I
it?
remember correct.
Because the lead gang member in Death Wish 3 was Chuck Cunningham.
Yes, and they talk about whether or not his character
Is Chuck Cunningham?
was homosexual.
Oh.
They were like leaning towards that.
Manny Fraker was his name.
Yes, they talk about him. Now, they also revealed the name of a guy who's on Facebook who sells Fraker's
The little paint
tattoo stickers that you
Oh,
can stick on
really?
your head.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they had some. They said like for $5 you send them, and they'll send you a bunch of stuff. Now, he did say on there if I reached out to him, this Eric Todd guy, he'll send me a couple of stickers that he does.
Awesome.
And if he does, I got one for
Oh,
him.
awesome.
I'm going to check
Thank
the
you,
mail
Eric.
every day. I'm gonna check the
Anybody
mail.
who's a fan of Death Wish 3 is a friend of mine.
So I'm going to send him this episode, and I'll tell him when we start talking
What was
about
it?
it.
The guy from Psycho is in it too. And he, my shop.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. I can see his face, for Christ's
He was
sakes.
on Archie Bunker's place.
Yeah, I know. He was in Psycho. He's a classic.
He was also the guy from Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yes, he's been in a ton of movies. Great character. He was in 12 Angry Men. We both reached our phones for the same time. Let me see if I can think of it.
Your fingers are quicker than mine.
Let me see.
Well, whatever. He was awesome in that, and they tried to kill him because the gun didn't
Martin
work.
Balsam.
Martin Balsam.
I didn't even look it up. Martin
Balsam.
My shop. And they
shop.
And they keep
My
saying
shop.
that. My shop. My shop.
He had a Red Sox hat on.
I think it was a Brooklyn Dodgers hat.
Was it?
I'm going to guess.
Well, there was
'cause-
a B on it.
Yeah,
You know,
well, they said
I'm not a sports
What
fan.
was his name on the show? They said we could tell his name is blah blah because he has a B on his hat. So, which they kind of look at the movie the way we would.
Great.
You know.
I definitely want to meet these guys. Where
No,
are they out of?
I'm not sure. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I can.
You can
find
look
out.
it up there.
Well, you go to their page.
I love Death. You don't know how much I love Death Wish 3.
Well, first of all, they do all of Charles Bronson's movies, which is really cool.
My friend worked at a gas station in Lynn. This is a true story. This was back in probably the very, very early 1990s. When did Charles Bronson die?
I have no idea.
Well, he was alive when this happened.
Okay.
And he called me up. His name was Pete. He worked inside it looked like a photo mat at the gas station in Lynn. And out of nowhere, someone pulled up, and he was obviously in a rent-a-car. And he goes, I need a little help out here. And he's like, he goes, this is Charles Bronson.
Are you serious?
God's honest truth. And he paid for it with a credit card. Back when they had the credit card machines back then. Yeah. And he signed it. You have to sign the thing.
Yeah.
He kept it.
Wow.
He kept it. He helped Charles Bronson pump gas. This is going to be either late 80s or very early 90s.
What do you think of that, Eric Todd, huh? Jeepers.
I wish I would. He got his name out of a phone book, Charles Bronson.
Yeah, what was his...
He had a Russian name.
Yeah, Buchinsky, I think was his real name.
And he just thumbed through, when he was out in Hollywood.
Yeah, Charles...
Thumbing through there. He was awesome. Another favorite Charles Bronson movie of mine, of course, is The Great Escape.
They talk about... God almighty, I don't know. I mean, it's... Now, this episode that was recorded in November is called Part 1, Death Wish 3, Part 1. But I think they covered the whole thing, because they went from the beginning to the very end of the flick, when he was walking away with his bags and everything, and the giggler. They talk about all that stuff. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was an hour and 22 minutes. And
you'll have to send me the link. I definitely will listen to that.
It's worthless, and there's a video with it where you can see him and his two buddies.
Okay.
And one guy's from down south. I don't know where the other guy is. One guy, for some reason, is in black and white. But Eric does most of the talking, and I will say this: I'm going to re-listen to this, Eric. And only reason why I'm not so up on it is I was listening to this in work.
Really?
You know how I do dabble in the print shop in the daytime.
You got to get that merch made.
Yeah. So I'm over there, and I'm putting some data in the system for this big job that they got coming in because no one else wanted to do it. And I have one earphone in, and I'm listening to it at the end of the day, and I'm also watching out of the corner of my eye. But I really got to focus on it, so I'm going to re-listen to that again.
Charles Bronson and Paul Kersey has no luck with women in these deaths.
Oh, they talk about that too.
They all die.
Oh, one of the funniest lines on the whole thing was, fucking Paul Kersey was worse than getting AIDS in the 80s, which I thought was hilarious.
Especially in Part 3.
Yes.
I mean, that lawyer chick comes out looking for him, and then he goes in to get his mail, and Manny Fraker and them beat the fuck out of her in the car, and the car blows up.
It explodes. They were like, I don't know why this car exploded, but or if there was any reason for it. Too.
Right, and were they following Charles Bronson throughout the entire movie?
Yeah. But
unbelievable.
I apologize for getting Part 2 and Part 3 mixed up, but I'm a little tired.
How can you get those mixed up?
When I was thinking about the rape scene, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that was the Mexican made in there, but no.
But I think were they talking about I think they might have talked about Part 2. There was when the maid was getting raped. There was a scene in there where they broke her arm.
Okay.
And they said it was so graphic they had to take it out of the movie. And my guess is they were talking about
hopefully
that
the special effect was better than when his daughter fell on that spiked fence.
Oh God, yeah.
That was ridiculous. Yeah. They looked like someone
really unnerving.
Threw a dummy out the window.
Yeah, that was real unnerving, though.
Can you name the 3 celebrity cameos in the original Death Wish?
Lawrence Hilton Jacobs was in it, wasn't he?
Give me the money.
Yeah,
give me the money.
One.
That was one of them. The other guy became an icon.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
And
the third one is very hard to see. I don't know her real name. I just know her.
It's a woman. Okay.
I just know her character name on one of the most popular television shows in the history of television.
What?
Maria from Sesame Street.
Really?
She was a checkout clerk in the beginning when
the hell out of
when
here.
Jeff Goldblum and the other goons were following around the Kerseys.
Excellent. Okay.
That was I forgot what her real name is, but that was Maria from Sesame Street.
Wow, I don't think.
And Sesame Street. And Sesame Street was already on because that started in '69.
Yeah, it was right there. Yeah.
So this was '74 when that came out.
Yeah. Too bad Charles Bronson didn't show up on Sesame Street, huh?
He could have.
What are you so grouchy about?
Did you ever notice Jeff showed me this? God rest Jeff's soul. He texted me when he goes, dude, did you ever see this? It was a 10 to midnight lunchbox. I don't know if someone photoshopped it.
No, that sounds right.
But it looked too realistic.
No, I'm telling you.
It's like, okay, when I was a kid, I wanted a Star Wars one or a Battlestar Galactica.
$6 Million Man.
I really didn't say, I want a 10 to midnight one with Charles Bronson on it.
And these guys were talking about that too. And
the lunchbox?
No, the 10 to midnight.
Oh, okay.
And they said that somebody, or he showed his girlfriend or his wife, and she really liked that movie.
It was a good movie.
And they said, if you find a girl that likes 10 to midnight, she's a keeper. And you know what? Tosh likes 10 to midnight.
Because he's a keeper.
She loves watching guys get you.
I'm going to have to do that if I go out on the dating scene again.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, listen, requirements. You must like Death Wish 3.
Well,
all right?
I will say this, Mr. Eric Todd, TC Restani's eyes are lighting up about this whole subject, and now he's going to listen to it, and I'm going to re-listen to it.
If you want to be on and talk about Death Wish 3, I'll love it.
Yeah, maybe you can call in some night and talk to us, because it really was a great podcast, and I'm going to listen to the other episodes.
And you've made contact with this person?
I sent him a direct message on Facebook, and because he had a picture of the stickers. I don't want to reveal what the sticker says because you'll really like it. And he says, if you DM me, I'll send them to you. So I DM'd him.
You should hook him. Now that I'm back on Facebook, hook us up.
I'm going to see if I get these stickers.
Okay.
And then we'll send them some stickers.
Can you give me a hint about these stickers?
There's a little heart. I heart something, but you'll see it. Let me just tell you what it is.
Go ahead.
All right, it's I love Bronson. It's like it's one of those shadow pics, like your picture on your
right.
Charles Bronson. So I'm pretty sure it says if I remember correctly.
How can you not? Charles Bronson is. I mean, everybody goes gaga over Chuck Norris. Nah. Chuck Norris is good.
Yeah. I won't take anything away from him.
But Charles Bronson,
no.
I mean, he makes coffee nervous.
My old man used to say he's tough. He's one tough son of a gun. He used to say about Charles.
You ever notice the guy down here who does the show Wellsprings looks like Charles Bronson?
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about
an older version of him.
I know a guy that looks like him.
Really? There's a copycat guy out there who looks just like him, who's doing movies. Like B movies or direct-to-DVD movies.
Really?
I forgot what the guy's name is, but he looks just like Charles Bronson.
Let me see. I think I might have found this kid here. This cat.
Quincy, you ever seen any of the Death Wish movies?
No, I've heard of it, but
we'll have to watch it. We'll have to watch. We're going to skip 2. I'm sorry. I don't like 2 at all. Lawrence Fishburne is in 2. He makes a cameo as one of the thugs.
Yes, that's right.
Are you telling me that Death Wish movies are guy that tries to commit suicide?
No, come on.
Well, what do they mean by Death Wish?
All right, I'll tell you the plot. Charles Bronson and his wife go on a trip to Hawaii. They come back, they live in New York City, and then his wife and daughter get brutally raped, and one of them gets murdered. Ugh. And then Charles Bronson, who's an architect, all of a sudden takes a trip out to the West Coast and out to, Arizona. He's a developer. He builds buildings, and he met this crazy cowboy developer out there who gave him a gun and started talking about, getting revenge and all this other stuff. And then Charles Bronson comes back to New York, and the cops do nothing. They don't find anything about who the killers were. So he goes out on his own to take revenge. Sure. And he becomes a hero.
He becomes a hero?
He becomes a hero to the people who, because he's only out there blowing away scumbags. He ain't blowing away good guys. He's blowing away the scumbag bad guys.
Oh.
Yeah, you will like it. We should watch it sometime.
Death Wish 1 is awesome. Death Wish 2, Death Wish 3 is like Charles Bronson on steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Rambo, Commando, and any other O gets together with Charles Bronson. He goes berserk, killing these gangs, and the gang leader is Chuck Cunningham from Happy Days.
Yeah. That's got to be pretty worth.
What's his name? Gavin O'Hurley.
You got
something
me on
like that.
one.
His father was Grig in The Last Starfighter, and he was also the old man in RoboCop.
I'll tell you right now, Eric Todd's page is cool. He's also friends with Eddie Deason, but he also has an appreciation for The White Buffalo, which was produced by Dino De Laurentiis, who was the grandfather of Giada De Laurentiis. But that's a movie that one of my guilty pleasures.
And he produced the Conan movies.
Yes, exactly. But I can't find the stickers on here. But
well, I love Charles Bronson.
But look at his profile.
You know what this reminds me of?
His profile pic.
Oh, look at that, man! Charles Bronson. I know we don't bring up Charles Bronson enough.
Well, you know what this reminds me of?
I'm now following you, Eric Todd.
What is that, Quincy?
A clip from his other movie that I watched. And he said, "Watch this, and you're gonna learn something." You're right. I did watch when they stole the Covenant. There was like
that's Indiana Jones.
I know. Well, I saw one clip of Charles Bronson.
He's not in Indiana Jones.
Well, I know, but he comes in and does something good, right? But the whole point of Indiana Jones, all right, well, that's enough for me. And it's like, you try to steal the Covenant, you're going to pay the consequences. Charles Bronson was in that. You know what? That's enough for me.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the connection here, but if it works for you, okay.
Yeah, that's right. You made the connection.
Well, yeah, because the covenant is there to save you. But the point is, in that movie, this Charles Bronson movie, every time he tried to steal the covenant, the ground shakes, splits in two, he falls into the ground.
Are you talking about Indiana Jones or Charles Bronson?
Well, the actor Charles Bronson, right?
He's getting mixed up with Harrison Ford, no?
Quincy, Indiana Jones is played by Harrison Ford. Charles Bronson played Paul Kersey
Okay.
in the Death Wish movies. He wasn't in an Indiana
All
Jones
right, forgive
movie.
me if I get them mixed
That's
up.
okay. They're both...
You're embarrassing us in front of Eric Todd if he's listening.
Listen, he is the Charles Bronson expert. You have to appreciate Quincy to know him. We have to translate him sometimes, but it's okay. You know what? Another one of my favorite Charles Bronson movie is Death Hunt. Remember that one with Lee Marvin?
I don't, but I'll have to look it up.
You don't remember that one? It was Charles Bronson, Angie Dickinson. Oh God, it was basically
anything with Angie Dickinson in this.
She's still kicking, by the way. Mm-hmm. What was the plot of this movie? It takes place in the Yukon Territory in 1931. Charles Bronson is an American trapper who comes across an organized dog fight, and he takes one of the dogs and brings it back to life. And somehow they say that he, kidnapped the dog. And then there's a big manhunt.
Okay, February 11, 2023, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Death Hunt. They talk about Death Hunt on the podcast.
Okay, great.
So that's an episode. I'll send you a link to both.
It's a great movie.
Teenage heartthrob Danny Getz, Brad Kane, and Eric Todd welcome David, Mr. Majestic Middleburg from the world of Charles Bronson to discuss one of Eric Todd to Midnight Todd's top 5 Bronson flicks. Death Hunt. Also, Brad, certified badass Crane, shows off his Wildie Magnum. Remember the Wildie, the gun in
Wildy.
Wildy's
here.
Well, that's right, Wildy. I'm really making an ass out of myself. But the Wildy gun that was in.
Do you know where I first saw Death Hunt?
Where?
On WPIX out of New York.
Out of New York. Good channel.
It was on some Saturday afternoon back in the mid '80s.
Well,
I have to start watching more Charles Bronson
1981
movies.
it came out.
It did.
Yeah. Well, this will help you.
Oh, great.
It's a little guided tour of Bronson's career.
I didn't think I was going to wake up today talking about Charles Bronson.
Well, see,
but it unleashed one of my favorite. He's not in my top 5 or anything like that.
No, but he's a legend.
But he's Charles Bronson. All right, like Elvis is to music, Charles Bronson is the tough guys in
As
movies.
a kid, I remember being very impressed with the ruse of Great Escape, where they created the shower. Remember when they were digging the tunnel and they made it look like a shower?
Oh, yeah.
I
need a shower.
No, he goes, it's me. I need the wash.
Yeah.
I need. So sometimes when I was a kid, I used to say that. My mother would go, it's Saturday night, you go to school Monday. And I goes, yeah, I know. I need the wash. So I'd be in the bathroom.
He was the only claustrophobic tunnel digger.
I can only imagine. Boy, I get claustrophobic.
And he survived. No spoilers. He survived the Great Escape.
And that's a great movie, too.
A little bit too long. I mean, they're going to cut it down a little bit.
But I like watching that movie. It brings back a lot of memories. Because back in the day, they used to split it into 2 nights on Channel 56.
Correct.
Monday and Tuesday.
I did not watch that until probably when I was just out of high school.
And your buddy's got the motorcycle, right?
He does. Well, he has... I think he does have because he has the dummy of Steve McQueen on it.
Steve McQueen dummy.
The Steve McQueen dummy. Well, he's also a big Steve McQueen fan. He also has a replica of the car from Bullitt.
Someone should do a podcast like this about Steve McQueen. The Hunter. Remember that movie, The Hunter?
No.
He played Papa.
I remember Hunter with Fred Dreyer and Stephanie Kramer.
This was I think it was his last movie where he played a bounty hunter.
My favorite Steve McQueen movie is Papillon.
Oh my God, yeah, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Right,
no question about it. That's a great movie. And they try to do a remake of it.
Yeah, with the guy from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, terrible.
No. So I didn't. Someone gave this to me as a Christmas gift one year.
The original?
Yeah, the original one.
Okay.
My friend Brett. This is back in probably I'm going to say very late 90s.
Yeah.
He goes, dude, you like The Great Escape? You're going to love this.
Yeah.
It's like Cool Hand Luke, but different.
And it was, I think, the same director that directed the original Planet of the Apes, if I'm not mistaken.
Could
Don't
be.
ask me who that was, but...
And what's his name? Dustin Hoffman.
or either that or Pierre Boulez wrote it or something. Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We need a laptop down here is what we need.
Well, we could do it, but it's...
We need CJ here to fact check everything in 2
that's true.
seconds.
CJ, we do miss you for crying out loud.
But what's his name? Dustin Hoffman.
Yes.
He played the little wormy guy in there.
Yes.
Didn't he look like Stevie?
That's right. with those glasses.
We had a guy that used to hang around down here. He didn't. He had some speech impediment.
Yeah.
But he looked just like Dustin Hoffman and Papillon.
I would see Stevie on the street and I would say hi to him. He'd get so excited that somebody recognized him. And Tasha was like, "Who's that guy?" I said, "That's Stevie."
He talked like Beaker.
Yeah.
Love you, Stevie, if you're out there.
He was so happy that someone recognized him.
But oh my God, he loved Sabrina. Did he ever?
Well, who didn't?
Oh no, he tried to steal a picture off the wall of her one night.
Can't blame him for that.
You know what? I've done that too. But I'm in a lot of those pictures. But I just cut myself out. Mm-hmm. I would definitely want to hook up with these Death Wish people.
All right. So Eric Todd, hopefully this does it justice. But I will send them a link.
And what's the name of their podcast again?
This Week in Charles Bronson.
This Week in Charles Bronson.
Isn't that great? And these guys know each other really well. They do it remote. They're not all in the same room like us, but they do a video thing where they all chime in.
That's great.
But I just
see there's a subject for everything out there.
And you were kind of like this, like tonight, going like, "What are we going to talk about?" Don't I always come through?
You see when I see the paper,
you see the notes.
I know it's like, all right, I can't just keep rattling off on.
And I even skipped the Bob Dylan movie and Steve Guttenberg to go right to.
Well,
Eric
Steve
Todd.
Guttenberg, man, that guy's
Isn't that something?
I mean, when we met him at Chiller Theater, I don't know, like 10 years ago, he never done a convention before, and he didn't know how it worked.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Do I take the money before I sign the autograph?" The nicest guy in the world, and
he still is.
And he's out there fighting fires and helping. Unbelievable guy, Steve Guttenberg.
And even prior to that, his videos would be him walking through like
he's always positive.
Yeah, and he's like going to the beach.
Yeah.
You know, he's what, probably in his 70s, I would imagine.
I don't think he's in his 70s.
Don't think so? Maybe in his 60s?
I mean, that movie came out 40 years ago, so he's probably in his late 20s
he's
then.
Like going out and jumping in the ocean like at 7 in the morning, and he's all refreshed and he's positive about it.
Him and Diamond Dallas Page should hook up.
Yeah. Page has got Mick Foley under his wing right now.
And Lex Luger.
Yes.
You know, Mick Foley lost like 150 pounds because he wants to wrestle one more time.
Oh, what an idiot.
But Lex Luger wants to walk again. There's a big difference.
He just wants to walk to the fridge, for Christ's sake.
You know, bang, bang. But yeah, that Steve Guttenberg guy, he's going to get a lot of convention booking now because of that.
Did you see how the guy on the news was interviewing him? Had no idea who he was.
And what's your name? My name's Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, and he just didn't. He goes, "Don't you see Police Academy?" You know,
how do you not even by chance? It's on TV all the time.
And Steve Guttenberg, I think one of his, if not his first role, he had an uncredited. No, it was in the credits, but he had a very minor role in my favorite trashy movie of all time, Roller Coaster.
Really?
When I remember we were talking about that. I bought the Blu-ray last summer, and I'm watching all of a sudden. I was like, "Hey, that's Steve Guttenberg."
You know what my first encounter with Steve Guttenberg was in the movies?
No.
The Day After.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that's a good movie. Good made-for-TV movie.
Good made-for-TV. Directed by the guy who did Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Speaking of...
Steve Guttenberg?
Actually, we weren't speaking of... But here's the deal. Do you know they're remaking the Naked Gun series?
Yes, with Liam Neeson.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
You know what? The Naked Gun movies are funny, but they're not like... I don't hold them sacred.
Yeah.
I could... And Liam Neeson is actually a funny guy.
I think so, too. And I think I can really see him pulling this off.
Right.
And I'm hoping he does.
You know, I don't know why, Leslie Nielsen, Liam Neeson,
Yeah.
Who's his love interest in that? Do we know?
I don't know yet.
It's not Priscilla Presley.
No,
again,
God, no. Who would it be? Cher?
No, it wouldn't be Cher, but look it up. You have the phone.
I want to be surprised.
But I'm actually kind of looking. Jeff was actually... they were doing auditions to have. I think they shot part of it around here in Boston.
What?
The new Naked Gun movie.
Oh, really?
And Jeff went out for an audition for it to be an extra in it. I remember him talking about that.
So it's already been in production.
Oh yeah, I think it's in production. I think it comes out. I think it comes out later this year.
Really?
Met Liam Neeson. He was really awesome.
I bet. Yeah.
He strikes really tall.
Yeah.
He was doing a play on Broadway in 1998 called Judas Kissed or something something on that lines. And it was me and the other autograph hounds. Even though my last name is Restani, I look like my mother, very Irish looking.
Oh, yeah.
And I have Irish in me. My mother was Irish. And he came over to us. I don't know if this would be concealed like being prejudiced or whatnot. Yeah. But there was like 100 people there trying to get the autographs. And it was me, Walshy, and Jeff. All right. We all look like we just got off the boat, from potato picking.
Potato eaters.
And he walks over and he goes, "Are you Irish?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Prove it." And I said, "Well, my first name, and he goes, "What about him?" And he goes, yeah, my last name's Walsh. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, my name's Jeff Collins. I'm only going to sign for you 3.
Wow.
Because you're Irish. God's honest truth.
And if you had, some Doc McMurphy with you.
Exactly.
That would have been a home run.
Home run hit there. Very, very, very nice
Yeah, he
guy.
strikes me as a cool dude. He had suffered a tragedy with his wife. And
His wife,
everything.
yeah.
And I will say, those Taken movies, all 3 of them, I still like all those.
I do enjoy them.
Yeah.
Right.
Taken, the first one was awesome. When he just went, rogue.
The third one was kind of cool, where he was perceived as the bad guy.
I suspended my disbelief and enjoyed every minute of it. I like Liam Neeson.
I have nothing against Liam Neeson whatsoever.
He dated Sinead O'Connor, too, when she was hot.
Really? Did she have hair?
No. He went right for it. I like that look, though, on her. She was good. They would have made a nice couple.
Well, they're both from Ireland.
Yeah, if they stuck together, maybe she'd be still
You know what his
alive.
first movie was?
Not that movie with Steve Martin.
No, it was called Crawl.
Oh, Jesus. Krull? He was in
in
Krull?
Crawl, yeah.
Wow. You got to see the movie he does with
But
Steve
he was
Martin.
didn't he also tap Helen Mirren as well? I believe he did.
Nothing wrong with that. Back in the day, woof. Woofa.
Well, they are like the tall Irish guys. He's a boxer and everything like that.
Yeah,
So
he's a tough guy.
He's as they would say, he's a man's man.
He's a tough guy, though. I like him.
And he signed.
I didn't know that you knew that. I'm impressed.
What?
That they were remaking it.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think I heard about on This Week in Charles Bronson.
It's Charles Bronson. They're gonna bring him back and bring him.
I think they were just
Oh.
discussing for some reason, and that came up, and so
They didn't have a Charles Bronson video game where you could like a Paul Kersey video game.
That would have been awesome. man.
Death
That's a
Wish.
great
Death Wish
idea.
the game.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
yeah,
Kill it, running, shooting the giggler.
yeah. The giggler. Teeth.
Teeth.
What the hell was they're shooting the? Oh. I wish the hell I could remember that they're killing or they're shooting the Jewish couple there. Anyway, it's just bothering me that I can't remember.
Well, you know what? You can go back and watch.
Yeah.
You can give us a report next week when you're unboxing.
yes.
You can say, "Oh, by the way,
Yeah, I watched
I went
it
back
again.
and watched Death Wish." Is that streaming anyway? I have to watch this now before next week.
Both Death Wish 2 and 3 are both. I know, but they're both streaming on Tubi.
Are they?
Yes.
I mean, I must have the DVD, the original DVD, somewhere.
You got to get up and walk across the room for that. Excuse me.
Well, I can't find it anyway. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go back and watch.
I got to find time because you know what? I'm going through this hardcore Beatles phase right now. And I watched the Martin Scorsese Beatles 64, and I went up to the library.
Wow.
And I got the Beatles anthology, and I rented those out of the library so I could watch all those. So I got to squeeze all this in.
Why are you in a Beatles phase? Is it some anniversary or anything?
Back in November, Scorsese released Beatles 64, which highlights their arrival in America. Because
Didn't Peter Jackson do that already?
No, he did the Let It Be sessions and everything.
okay.
He went through the final phase. This is at the very beginning.
Ah.
What I thought was very interesting, though, I have seen tons of Beatle biographies. There was one that was narrated by Malcolm McDowell called The Complete Beatles, one of my favorite, but Paul McCartney got a hold of that and squashed it because he was going to put out the anthology, which was, I believe, originally shown on television in different nights. Then they put out the DVDs with all the extras and everything.
Gotcha.
Where they interviewed the 3 remaining Beatles. And they had footage of John Lennon, of course, in there and all that. But it was very in-depth biography. Now, both the original Complete Beatles that Malcolm McDowell narrated and the anthology, none of them ever put into perspective the arrival of the Beatles. Well, you figure November 23rd, 1963? Kennedy, right?
That was the 22nd.
Okay, 22nd. That February, 1964, the Beatles arrive in America.
On the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yes. The way they present, I never put those two events that close together. It never struck me that the Beatles were like, when they arrived, it was like something good finally happened in the world. Like they came along, and I always say this about the Beatles. I honestly believe the Beatles are what they are. A lot of it is due to timing. Granted, I'm not going to take the talent away from that, but things happened at the right time for them, especially early on in their career. But they landed, and it was like all the kids finally had something good. You know, there was like they were allowed to be happy. And
You think Kennedy's death affected children?
oh God, yeah. I mean, because their home life. I mean, you see your parents upset. I
Right.
can remember my sister saying. I mean, she was in grade school, and the nun burst into tears Like you
I can see a nun because that that.
But your parents and
back
everything,
then they held the president as like a hero.
Yeah.
But for kids, I mean,
When I say kids,
when you were a kid,
teenagers,
when I was a kid, Ronald Reagan got shot, and no one cared.
Well, it's different time, but like then the times were much more innocent then, and plus he was shot and murdered right on television. I mean, I don't know how often the video.
Well, it wasn't on
then.
TV though.
Right? But I mean, you could see the film at some point.
The Zapruder film.
Yeah, the Zapruder film. But I mean, America. I mean, like, and then they showed his burial and stuff like that. It was very heart wrenching. He was murdered. Up until that point, nobody had really
and
been.
soon we'll find out who did it.
Exactly, but up until that point, like Reagan got shot, but Reagan wasn't murdered.
Reagan died.
This was a thing, and it's like
No, I understand it was a big event.
Yeah.
But even kids back then, and maybe watching their parents get upset and whatnot, they were probably wondering why.
But I mean, plus he was a handsome president, so girls were like, I mean, he was beloved.
Sure.
And he was just taken away.
In my
so
house
violently.
growing up, there was a portrait of JFK.
Yes, and in my grandmother's house, it was on an easel. It was a gilded frame.
It was him.
like-
but what made no sense about this picture, wherever they found it, some flea market, was he was walking on a beach in a presidential suit.
yeah, well, he liked the beach.
But in a suit,
Yeah. The picture my grandmother had was him. He had his hand down the front of his pants and his thumb out his fly. And he was,
thinking of Maryland.
here you go, Marilyn, take a look at that. But anyway, so getting back to the Beatles, and like,
I want you to go back and to the left.
I just became more aware of how good they were. And they were
This
good.
was before they became mythical.
Right. But like Beatlemania was a good thing.
Right.
For the world and for the country.
You weren't around then, were you?
No, God, no. I was born in '65, so they arrived the year before. So, but I remember, like, when you talk to people, like, they remember watching them on the Ed Sullivan Show and everything. But their talent I always say, in terms of what makes a band, the Beatles are the greatest band of all time. And people say, well, so listen, I'm not talking about an overall catalog of music. I'm talking about what makes a band. The fact that they stuck together, they endured, they churned out the work, they changed, they adapted, they created, and they created some of the best songs ever.
Yeah, they went from altar boys to hippies.
Yeah. But the thing about the Beatles, too, a lot of people, they give the credit to the Rolling Stones for being the bad boys. The Stones were from Knightsbridge, very upscale. The Beatles were from Liverpool. You had to know how to fight to live in Liverpool. The Beatles were badasses. I mean, when they went to Germany and everything, and they hung out on the Reeperbahn. I mean, George Harrison said it. He goes, "I'm 17 years old, and he says if you had a girlfriend back there, chances are she was a stripper,
Wow,
or a porno star."
Hey,
And he says,
nothing wrong. I want to be a Beatle.
Yeah, and that was their education back then, and that was their introduction to women. But I don't know. I just became so. I mean, really, I watched that, and I watched the. I'm going to rewatch "I Want to Hold Your Hand," the movie by Zemeckis there. But
Eddie DeZean.
yes, great actor. But I'm just revisiting the Beatles, and I'm really getting
Now that Trump has opened the files on JFK,
Yes.
you think he'll open up on John Lennon? Because there's some shenanigans
You
going
think
on.
so?
there.
I just think that guy
I don't
was
think
a
he was.
crazy
I don't think he was just a random nut. I think
You
he
don't
was one of
think
those
so, huh?
Manchurian candidates.
Maybe I don't know. I never thought of that.
Right, and he's still in jail, right?
Yes, yeah. He tries to get paroled every now and then, but they always no. No, there's no reason to parole him.
I mean,
Look at that. George Harrison almost suffered the same thing. Guy broke into his house and stabbed him. He was stabbed something like 17 times and he survived. And who was it that told the funny story? Eric Idle of Monty Python. He says they're literally wheeling George Harrison down from upstairs where he was stabbed or whatever. And somebody had just been hired and worked on the staff, and he had just met the person the day before. And as they're wheeling him by, George Harrison looks at the young lady who's now working for him. He goes, "How do you like the job so far?" Which I thought was funny, typical British humor.
there you go.
So, I don't know, I'm just sort of rediscovering the Beatles, and it's like, at this age, to feel their music strike me as new again, it's a great feeling. That's all I'm saying. I'm a very fortunate man today. That's the way I look at it.
You're a very fortunate man.
I'm enjoying the Beatles like I'm just hearing them for the first time almost.
and look at the calendar right now. It is January 23rd.
Yeah.
41 years ago today,
Yeah.
our good friend, the Iron Sheik, did the job for Hulk Hogan to become the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion.
That was a Friday night, I think I watched it. I mean, maybe not live.
Did
MTV broadcast it live?
No, I think that was a Monday because it was a Madison Square Garden
Okay.
show.
All right. Then I must have watched it Friday because I remember going out and grabbing some beers after that with the guys.
Because you're a real American beer. I always figure that we were good friends. For those people who may be listening for the first time, we were very good friends with the Iron Sheik.
You're very good friends.
You can go on our YouTube page and you can watch us make jabroni pepperoni pizza with the guy, and he was insane.
Yeah.
But when he wasn't on the medicine or drinking the St. Pauli girl, he was a very personable guy.
Yeah, we always had him on his best behavior.
And he was always, oh yes sir, Mr. TC, oh Mr. Bittman, oh beautiful, oh, and he loved Jeff because Jeff gave him the medicine, the weed. Did love Jeff, and he named him South Boston Jeff.
That's right.
Oh, my South Boston medicine man.
And we had a nice dinner with him at the Kowloon.
We did have a nice dinner with him at the Kowloon. The Sheik is A-okay in my book. Everybody who ever meets the guy or met the guy always had a story.
I was so psyched because he asked me to be the person to refuse autographs for him, which I would really like doing that job. And he goes, Mr. Bittman, as we are leaving the restaurant, please, if someone tries to stop for an autograph, just try to tell them we have no time.
Keep their marks away from me.
And so I'm telling people, I'm sorry, no, we got to go. And he said, I'm sorry, I have to go. He's telling me I have to go. So he didn't look like the bad guy.
You came with me when we picked him up at the hotel.
Yeah.
Remember wherever hotel he was staying at.
We dropped him off. I was with you when we
remember we picked him up and he was sitting there in the lobby and he had the turban and everything on.
That's right.
He was just sitting. It was like, I don't know, the dewdrop in or whatever it was. Yeah. And he's just sitting there chatting with the clerk.
Yeah.
And I pull up and honked out, oh, Mr. TC.
Yeah, he was great.
And he came out with the green cane and he got in the car and he goes, please tell me you're going to have the food at the studio. Oh, we're going to have pizza and everything. Oh, lovely, Bubba. Oh, beautiful.
I went out and picked him up a Italian cold cut
That's right, you did.
And a piece of baklava, and he loved it.
And he washed it down with his Molson Ice
beer
or St. Pauli girl, whichever one we had.
They think that day was the Molson Ice.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. And then we went out to the Kowloon. Yep. Remember he fell asleep and his false teeth fell out?
He fell asleep at the table. His teeth fell out.
Love the Sheik. I mean, I wish that guy was still around.
Yeah, well,
But we had fun with him.
That's what I say. We were lucky. We were lucky.
Very lucky to have fun with the Iron Sheik.
We were very lucky.
He was. I mean, of all people, he had this major resurgence in the early 2000s. When
the Howard Stern show,
when he did all that stuff, and he did an interview that was recorded not far from here, where that's where talking about Brian Blair and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how our paths crossed. And he knew Bull Montana, obviously, because Bull was a wrestler.
Who doesn't?
And whatnot. And he loved it. I remember him saying this on one of the shoot interviews that I think he recorded. He goes, I've got more respect for Bull Montana than Ric Flair.
Wow.
I wish I could find that clip. But
that's pretty cool.
But that happened on this date in 1984.
Wow, man, you got a memory for that. I can't even remember. It took me an hour to remember Martin Balsam's name, for crying out loud.
Well, that's not as easy as the Iron Sheik.
Plus, I didn't get my nap today. I usually take a nap at lunchtime. I'm going straight through today. 6 hours of sleep last night. That probably has something to do with it.
That's 3 hours more than I got.
I don't know how you do it.
I had the breathing mask on and everything. I sound like Darth Vader. But it's fantastic. And Quincy, you have anything to add before we wrap the show up?
Yeah, you've been taking over.
Not really.
You were sitting over there like you were just like sipping milk for the last 20 minutes. What's going on?
Nothing.
Is there something wrong with the milk?
No, I'm just admiring some of the Charles Bronson and some of the.
We're going to introduce you to Death Wish 3.
Yeah, we're gonna
somewhere along the line. Okay.
You know what? We're not gonna wait till Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no. Let's not wait. I'll get remember that big bag of popcorn. I'll get some popcorn.
Yeah. You'll enjoy it. You will thoroughly enjoy it. Maybe we can get Counselor Troy Marina Sirtis on Zoom and say, what were you thinking here when the guy from Bill and Ted was raping you?
Yeah. I'm just admiring some of this stuff. Acknowledging it's like. Well, the point is, I thought Charles Bronson was in the other movie, but
he was not. No.
When you see him, you'll recognize him.
But the point I was trying to make was it reminded me of the other movie. He was out to do good, right?
Yeah.
Well,
do you remember The Magnificent Seven?
The what?
The movie The Magnificent Seven?
I don't think
so. The Magnificent Seven?
Yeah,
no, I can't.
Okay, he was in that. I was just trying to think of a movie you might have seen that you didn't realize. Okay, never mind then.
Oh, no, that's okay. So.
But he was in that.
But he, in other words, he. In that movie to do good, to try to do good.
Well, he wanted to avenge the death of his wife and his daughter.
Yeah.
So
and his girlfriend
and whoever else he interacted
with. The detective, Vincent Gardenia, that played the detective.
I have a Vincent Gardenia story.
You do?
I met Vincent Gardenia.
He was on All in the Family as Frank Lorenzo, and he was great.
Okay. He was doing a play.
Yeah.
I know I was going to bring this up. He was doing a play with the guy from Jaws 2 in the theater district in Boston in 1992. That was Joe Mascola who played Stefano Demir on Days of Our Lives. Okay. And I was going there. There was a bunch of people in there I wanted their autograph. And it was me and my friend Steve. We were walking down where the Emerson Majestic Theater is now.
Yep.
There was a laundromat there. It's no longer there. Yeah. And we're just walking. And all of a sudden, I see this guy walk out with his clothes in a laundry basket. And I'm like, no. Because I was a huge Death Wish fan.
Yeah.
And I go, is that Vincent Gardenia? I mean, literally as close as I am to Quincy right now. And I go, excuse me, Mr. Gardenia. He turned around. Yeah. I was like, big fan. Can I have a guy? Yeah, sure. Oh, let me put my laundry down.
Well, that's nice.
And he signed it. I'm like, dude, that's the dude from, it's the detective from, what was it, Ochoa, whatever his name was, in Death Wish. I was very excited to meet him.
That's cool. I would like to have met him.
And he was very cool.
And he was a great character on All in the Family. Then they just wrote him out of the series.
Really?
He was Irene Lorenzo's husband. She was like a sort of a blue-collar fix-it woman. She could fix anything. She was good with
Wasn't
tools.
it the woman from Laverne and Shirley?
Yes, she was Mrs.
Babish.
Yes, Edna Babish. And he was her husband who was a gourmet chef.
Wow.
And he made Vichyssoise for Archie Bunker,
Now,
which is a
was that pre-Death Wish? Because Death Wish came out in 74, All in the Family started in, 70? 69, 70?
Jeez, I don't know. I thought All in the Family maybe 72, maybe.
Okay, so did he become a movie star? That's why he left?
Maybe that's what it was. I didn't even think of that. But it was a great thing. He prepared Vichyssoise for Archie.
What is Vichyssoise?
It's a French soup that's served ice cold.
Oh, okay.
So, of course, Archie now, he sits down and Edith was like very happy. She goes, now Frank Lorenzo made this soup for you, Archie. And he takes the spoon and he blows on it.
Because it's hot.
Yeah. And Edith sees it and she knows right away she's in trouble. And then he puts it to his lips. He goes, what the hell kind of soup is that, for crying out loud? And Edith goes, if you heat it up, it cries. Because he said, if you heat up Vichyssoise, it weeps.
Wow.
So it does something with like the oil or something like that. And he says, well, I'm going to take this in the kitchen and I'm just going to heat it up. And then Frank got very upset.
See, that was the reason I didn't like Death Wish 2. He bites the big one in that one.
Yeah, that sucked and he died.
There was no reason for him to die.
Son of a bitch.
There was no reason for him to die.
No, there wasn't.
And he wasn't really in Death Wish 2 that long.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had in a contract. He was like a, what's the guy's name from? Oh, my brain is fried right now. Charlton Heston. Did he have like, all right, if I do a sequel, I'm in it for like 2 seconds and they kill me?
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed meeting Vincent Gardenia. Wow, that was 33 years ago.
Jesus Christmas.
That's a long time. A long time.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Well, it was on, what was that? Is that Tremont Street?
Where?
Where I met him. Where in the
you met him in Boston? I thought you were staying in New York. Oh, the Emerson.
No.
I'm sorry.
Emerson Majestic.
Yeah, that was probably Tremont Street, yeah.
Right there. The Emerson Majestic, I don't think was there yet.
Yeah.
It was a cruddy old laundromat.
Jeez, I wonder what the hell.
Right across the street from the magic shop there. What was it? Jack's?
Jack's, Little Jack Horner's? Yeah, the joke shop.
Right there. It was right across the street from there.
That was Boylston Street then.
Was it?
No, that was Tremont Street. I don't fucking know.
Wherever it was.
Boylston is where the Hancock is, so that would have been Tremont Street. You're right.
Right there. Right there where I met him. Yeah. We're going to have to go drive by there and I'm going to just and say.
That's where I met Vincent Gardenia.
This is where I met Vincent Gardenia.
Yeah, he's
and people
cool.
are going to go, who?
He was a cool actor.
I mean, I was impressed. I was how old when I met him? I was probably, 92? I was 21 years old. Oh, man. And, what 21-year-old is going to go hunt down Vincent Gardenia? Yeah. I was going to get him at the theater, but I just saw him happen to walk out of the laundromat that day.
Staying in some flea bag and just doing his laundry.
Right. So there you go. I've met Death Wish lore.
Nice. Well, there you go, Eric Todd. I told you this was the podcast for you.
Unbelievable. Anything else in your little paper there before we wrap it up?
You know what? I had that news item. I said, why don't we save it for next week because of the unboxing?
Benny,
Can you give us a little?
It's a story about Jaws.
Oh.
Something went down on one of the locations.
Oh, something went down.
Yeah,
well, we'll have to save that for next week.
So we'll mention it
next week. Next week will be 1 week closer to the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
There you go. And 1 week closer to my trip to Florida.
There you go.
You got any gigs lined up down in Florida?
I don't know this time. We're going to see. I really want to go and have, but of course, Tosh sucked me into this. We're checking out of our place in Kissimmee on Saturday and then driving to Fort Lauderdale.
Didn't Florida just get hit with a blizzard or something?
Yeah, down in Sarasota, 7 inches of snow. That'll all be gone by the time.
You mean Randy Savage would have to shovel his lawn?
He would have, yeah. 7 inches of snow in Sarasota,
And
Florida.
okay.
Now, Kissimmee got mostly rain. They were inland.
That came off the Gulf of America, right?
Yeah, that's right. The Gulf of the USA. So I got to drive down to, and then I'll fly home from Fort Lauderdale on President's Day, which is a Monday. So,
It's always on a Monday. For you know why?
Why?
Long weekend.
You go. Hey, nothing wrong with a long weekend.
Now, would you rather have Friday or Monday off?
I like Monday. I do.
We had the Martin Luther King Day this past Monday.
Yeah.
And the work week flows a little quick. Not that I have a job or anything,
no, I know exactly
but I'm just
what you
saying,
mean. Same here.
Restani Productions was open, and it's like we're already recording. It seems like we were just here yesterday.
Yeah, I like the Monday, and of course Tosh. I'm staying at her place while the Winnie Bagel is on ice for the winter, so she had to work.
Right.
So I just I straightened up some stuff. I put my books in order. You know how I take out a lot of books, and next thing you know, the little table.
I still got my Christmas tree up. What are you talking about?
Oh my God! Well,
It's now a winter tree. It's a winter tree.
That works.
It's relaxing.
So
I like it.
But I just like organized some stuff, and I had some coffee, and I had to get up early and shovel that morning too because she had to go to work. So I got her out the door. I did a little shoveling and all that. Cleared all the.
You sent me the
pathways.
picture from your doorbell cam.
Yes. Well, everyone thought that was real. That was
No, not that one, but the real one.
that
The
one.
real one. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I was sitting there, like, it did suck.
Because I looked at the fake one you put. I was like, that's not his neighborhood.
I never said to people that was
No,
local.
you did. You did
but
not.
everybody was like, "Well, there's so much snow over there." I'm like, you idiot, for crying out loud. But I was just having some fun with people.
Are you updating the Winnebago? I heard from.
Well, yeah, we're always updating it.
For those of you who don't know, that means Abby, our executive producer.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I do want to talk to you at some point. I think I might bring the jukebox back, but there'll be no music. I mean, I might talk. I mean, we're talking maybe 20-minute segments or something like that.
More of like the liner notes that you used to do?
Talking about bands, talking about music. And
Like you just passionately did about the Beatles?
Yes, exactly. Like that would be a whole episode right there. Like how the Beatles, and I would be much more prepared and everything. But I'm thinking of doing that.
Well, we do have the podcast Penthouse.
I know, but I want to talk to you about that because you and your producers handle all that. I'm going to have to do this one on my own. No Galen's going to be involved in this. Thank you, Abby.
I think you just got the yes.
I think so too.
And
I think.
when do you want to kick this off?
I don't know. We'll talk about it. But
Okay, because we have another big announcement. It's been delayed a little bit because of construction costs.
Yeah.
But we have that project still in the back burner.
Yeah. Maybe we can find anyone out there play the accordion. Get in touch with me via this podcast, please.
Weird Al does.
We can. I'm going to see him for my birthday in July.
Where's he playing?
The Wang.
Oh, we can get him out the back door.
Really? Well, I'll be going through the front door with him. I'm going to have nice seats right down front.
I have a Weird Al story. Maybe I could finally. I met him also in 1992. It was Vincent Gardenia Weird Al summer.
Wow.
He was playing up at Salisbury Beach of all places.
Yeah, he loves playing up there.
But he went all out on this show. My friend's band, they were called Fuhrer at the time, had nothing to do with Hitler.
No, they had nothing to do with it.
No, it had nothing to do with spelled differently.
Okay.
And they even said it because one of them was German. And he goes,
listen,
whatever.
Why go there? I mean,
whatever. I mean, this was 30 some odd years ago. Whatever. They opened up for Weird Al.
Okay.
And we got to hang around the dressing room. And they brought in all his costume changes. He did every music video that he did. He had a costume change. So we had the fat suit from Fat. And he had
God.
Dare to Be Stupid and all these other gimmicks. And when we were leaving, I wanted to get his autograph, and he had two hotties with him,
I bet.
two groupies with him, and they want to get on that tour bus and get the hell out of Salisbury.
Yeah.
So I got him down at the bus, and this is before I was a big time TV talk show host. I took my own horn.
We all start somewhere.
So I got him to sign the autograph, and he did Weird Al, and he put the quote. You know how you put quotes around things?
Yeah.
He only did one quote. He didn't quote the other side. So could I, after 33 years, bring that index card and I just want the quote.
He'd probably get a kick out of that.
I just want the quote.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen him a bunch of times at Comic-Cons and whatnot, but just the fact that, some lunatic kept this index card for 30 some odd years just to get the quote.
Well, listen.
Or on Weird.
July 16th.
July 16th. Is that a Saturday?
I think it's a Wednesday. It's a weekday.
It's all right.
But it's a couple days before my birthday. And I said to Tosh, she goes, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" I said, "That's what I want to do.
Really?
I want to see Weird Al Yankovic."
Was that the same place we saw Tony Clifton?
No, that was the Wilbur.
Oh, that's next door.
The Wang. The Wang is big.
Oh, the Wang is where I saw in 1993. They had all three Star Wars movies played back to back to back for the 10th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So they played the entire Star Wars saga.
The Wang is sort of like George Takei.
But they used the same stage door.
Really?
Yeah.
George Takei said, I'm going to get that wang.
Oh, sorry, wrong button. Oh my.
Oh, my.
Okay.
Quincy, I'm going to get that wang.
Get the wang.
Quincy, speaking of that, can you wrap up the wang?
Sure. Okay.
Wrap up that wang. No one wants to see it. It looks like an aardvark.
Well, we want to thank you for watching this very interesting episode, and we hope to see you again on the next episode. We think it's going to be so interesting, too.
We're going to be doing unboxing.
An unboxing of a product.
Okay, so we'll leave it alone at that. How about that?
I think it's a great idea.
So for the present, please drive home carefully, and remember, we never close.
Ever.
Ever.
Forever.